Very good morning to one and all. This is Ekal Charan, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Maharashtra Engineering College, Hyderabad. Today we are going to discuss psychometric process under psychometry, unit number 4, in refrigeration and air conditioning subject. These are the following contents which I am going to discuss under the psychometric process. First one is sensible heating, second one sensible cooling, third one humidification and dehumidification, fourth one cooling and adiabatic humidification, fifth one cooling, humidification by water injection, heating and humidification by steam injection, adiabatic chemical dehumidification, adiabatic mixing of air stream. All these are the contents which I am going to cover in this PPT. First, come to the sensible heating. Sensible heating, generally we know that heat can be added in two ways. One is sensible heat, another one is latent heat. Sensible heat is nothing but we know that there will be a rise in the temperature of the body without changing the phase. Latent heat is nothing but there is a rise, there is a change of phase, that is from solid to liquid or liquid to vapor or vapor to liquid or liquid to solid. Without any change in the temperature, that is nothing but latent heat. But the first point here we are going to discuss is sensible heating. Without a change in phase, only there will be temperature changes. Now, if you observe the figure, a psychometric process, if you observe the figure, a psychometric process, the air inlet temperature is TD1 and air outlet temperature is TD2, and the steam enters at a temperature, higher temperatures into the inside a coil and leaves out. And normally the temperature of the coil is maintained at TD3 temperature. Means the temperature of this coil temperature is very higher when compared with TD1 and TD2, because for an efficient heat exchanger the TD2 may be equal to TD3, but normally all heat exchangers are not efficient, maybe having 70-80% efficiency. Therefore TD2 will be always less than TD3. Therefore when air passes over this heat exchanger, when it touches with this coil, the air temperature rises up to TD2 but not equal to TD3. Therefore this is shown under psychometric chart B. What this says means without any change in the moisture content present in air, that is W1 is equal to W2, only there will be a rising temperature of heat from TD1 to from here to here. From TD1 to TD2 there is a rise in temperature, but there is no change in the specific humidity. This is nothing but sensible heating. And if you observe the formula that can be written for sensible heating is equal to Q is equal to H2 minus H1. Q is equal to H2 minus H1. This can also be written as for air. This is for air which is present in the atmosphere, dry air, and this is for the moisture content present in the air. If I include both, that is nothing but H2 minus H1. If I take TD2 minus TD1 common, this can be written as a CPA plus W into CPA. CPS, this is nothing but specific heat steam. TD2 minus this term can be called as specific humid heat, and its value is generally 1.022. You need to remember it is a generalized value. Similarly, sensible cooling is nothing but there is a fall in temperature of air without any change in the specific humidity. If you observe in the next slide, we will discuss the figure as well as formula. This is nothing but the sensible cooling. If you observe here, that decrease in temperature takes place from TD1 to TD2, and in this case a cold water or refrigerant flowing inside the coil temperature is very very less, that is TD3 is the coil temperature, and the outlet air temperature is TD2, inlet air temperature is TD1. TD2 will be lesser when compared with TD1, and TD2 will be greater when compared with TD3 because of inefficient heat exchanger. If it is an efficient heat exchanger, TD2 may be equal to TD3 for a 100% efficient heat exchanger. And this formula Q can be written as H1 minus H2, and this portion is for dry air and this portion is for moisture present in air. This total combination is nothing but moist air for Q. And we know that this term is nothing but specific humidity, and its value is generally taken as 1.022. this is a generalized formula we need to use. That is Q is equal to 1.022 into TD1 minus TD2. Suppose in some cases, in case of sensible heat, if we asked in terms of volume, sensible heat is asked in terms of volume, then try to use this formula M. Generally, we know that mCp into delta T is the formula. M can be written as density into volume. M can be written as density into volume, specific heat and change in temperature. Density value is 1.2 for 20 degrees centigrade and 50% relativity, which normally taken. And V is nothing but volume flow rate. And specific humidity value already we know 1.02. If we substitute all those things in this equation, we get a final formula like this. If we convert in terms of seconds, this is the final formula we get. 0.02044 specific volume into change in temperature. Next, bypass factor. It is very, very important one. The name itself says that if any fluid is passed over a heat exchanger, there may be a chance that some amount of fluid may bypass us. If you observe the figure, 1 minus x kg, when I send 1 kg of air inside this heat exchanger, 1 minus x kg get in touch with the coil, and x kg is getting bypassed through the coil. Means this x kg will not get in touch with the coil, therefore there no heat exchange between this x kg with the coil. Only 1 minus kg will get heat exchange with the coil. Therefore that equation can be written based on energy balance equation here. And finally that x value you will be getting in terms of temperatures. This bypass factor can also be called as 1 minus efficiency. Bypass factor can be called as 1 minus efficiency, or efficiency can be called as 1 minus bypass factor. If you observe the formula here, 1 minus efficiency is nothing but the bypass factor, or 1 minus bypass factor is nothing but efficiency. It is same for heating coil as well as for cooling coil. Go through the description here, you will be getting full clarity regarding this. Next, heating and humidification. Heating, no, it is not heating and humidification. The third point is heating and humidification and dehumidification. Humidification and dehumidification. Humidification and dehumidification means here, without changing the temperature, there will be a rise in specific humidity. Without changing the temperature, if you observe, there is a rise in specific humidity. If you observe here from W1 to W2, there is a rise in the specific humidity occurs. And here, if you observe, temperatures TD1 and TD2 both are remains same. And if you observe here, there will be increase. And if you observe the next figure, there is a decrease in the specific humidity. This is nothing but dehumidification, and this is nothing but humidification. Here it takes a latent heat for humidification and releases latent heat for dehumidification. Generalized formula for humidification and dehumidification is LH is equal to, we know that latent heat is nothing but M into L per unit mass. If I consider L is coming, L is nothing but the latent heat, that can be written as HFG. But why W1 minus W2 means the amount of vapor which is added to the air, or amount of vapor which is removed from the air, that is W1 minus W2, which indicates amount of moisture content. Suppose in the latent heat, if they have given in terms of volume, then this latent heat can be written as M into L or M into delta H. This is nothing but HFG. This is the formula we can use, but in the place of mass, we can write a density into volume. We know density is nothing but 1.2. Volume, latent heat of vaporization, 2500 kilojoules per kg, a standard value you need to remember. And V is nothing but specific volume. And the latent, if you substitute these values in the above equation, this is the final formula we'll get, that is 50 V into delta W, that is the latent heat of vaporization for humidification and dehumidification for both the cases. Next, methods for obtaining humidification and dehumidification. Humidification and dehumidification can be obtained. Humidification can be obtained by two methods, as well as dehumidification can also be obtained by two methods. Humidification. For humidification, there are two methods. One is direct method, another one is indirect method. Direct method is nothing but directly by spraying a water, mm, steam, or a cold water into a space to be air conditioned. This method of obtaining humidification is not very effective. When you, in order to get an effective one, we will be going for indirect method. In this method, water is introduced into the air in an air conditioning plant with the help of an air washer. This is nothing but the air washer, as shown in the figure. This conditioned air is then supplied to the room to be air conditioned. The air washer humidification may be accomplished by three ways. First one is recirculated spray water without prior heating the air. Without prior heating the air. Second one is preheating the air and then washing it with the recirculated water. And third one is by using heated spray water. By these three ways, we can humidify the air. Now come to the dehumidification. Dehumidification in the for the first case, dehumidification air washer system. They will be taking help of air washer. In the system, the outside air entering is cooled below the dew point temperature so that it loses moisture by condensation. The moisture removal is accompanied with the spray water is chilled water and its temperature is lower than the dew point temperature of the entering air. Since the air is living, the air washer has its dry bulb temperature is much below the desired temperature in the room. Therefore, the heating coil is placed after the air washer. Dehumidification may also be achieved by using chemicals which have the capacity to absorb moisture in them. There are two types of chemicals used. First one is absorbents such as calcium chloride, and second one is adsorbents such as silica gel and activated alumina. These are the commonly used chemicals for dehumidification. Next, a sensible heat factor. Just now we have discussed that heat can be two ways. One is sensible heat, another one is latent heat. Sensible heat factor is nothing but it's a ratio of sensible heat to the total heat. Total heat consists of both sensible as well as latent heat. It can be defined as the ratio of sensible heat to the total heat. That is sensible heat factor. Next, cooling and dehumidification. This is normally used in summer air conditioner. Normally in India, we will be using this air conditioning machine in the houses or in industries, offices, cooling and dehumidification, which is used in summer air conditioning to cool and dehumidify the air, to cool the as well as dehumidify the air. The air is passed over a cooling coil mm, through a cool water spray. In this process, the dry bulb temperature as well as the specific humidity of the air decreases. The relative humidity of the air generally higher than that of entering air. The dehumidification of air is only possible when the effective temperature of the cooling coil is less than the dew point temperature of the air entering the coil. The effective temperature of the coil is known as apparatus dew point temperature. It is denoted by ADP. The cooling and dehumidification process is shown in the figure. Actually, this is the air which enters, and this is nothing but the cooling coil temperature. The air comes into contact with this cooling coil temperature so that air loses its temperature, and the moisture present in the air also gets condensed so that this is the temperature decrease, and this is the fall in the moisture, and finally this is the point achieved. This point 2 is nothing but the desired temperature of air which is leaving the cooling coil. This point 2 is nothing but the desired one. already we discussed the bypass factor is nothing but 1 minus efficiency. Efficiency is nothing but mm, what we have achieved in the previous slide. If you observe, the achieved is from 1 to 2 is the achievement, and 2 to 4 is not achieved. Bypass factor is nothing but not achievement, that is td2 minus td4 divided by total, that is td1 minus td4. TD2 minus TD4 divided by TD1 minus TD4. Achievement is from 1 to 2 is the achieved one. Therefore, TD1 minus TD2 divided by TD1 minus TD4. This is nothing but achievement. That is nothing but efficiency. That is 1 minus bypass factor is nothing but the efficiency. Cooling and adiabatic humidification. Here it's a very important. We require cooling and we require humidification. Cooling means the temperature of the air should reduce, but the moisture present in the air should get increased. Therefore, if you observe in the figure, the water to be sprayed inside the air, that should be greater than the dew point temperature of incoming air. This is nothing but the dew point temperature of entering air. This we call it as TDP. From here, if you draw a line, here the temperature we get, the temperature is nothing but dew point temperature the of initial state. This is nothing but the initial state. From here we need to draw a horizontal line so that we will be getting a dew point temperature. That value will be picked from here. The sprayed water temperature should be greater than this. What are the water we are going to spray here? That temperature value should be greater than this value, and it should be less. Means within this range only the temperature should be present, the sprayed water temperature. Then what happens means cooling occurs, and at the same time humidification occurs. Cooling and humidification occurs means it indicates that the spray water temperature should be greater than upper dew point temperature of entering air, and should be less than dry bulb temperature of entering air. Therefore, we can achieve cooling and adiabatic humidification. Next, heating and humidification by steam injection. In order to achieve this heating and humidification, here we need to spray water whose temperature is greater than the dry bulb temperature of initial state, greater than the dry bulb temperature of initial state, so that we get heating as well as we get humidification. W also gets increases. Heating and humidification. Steam injection. Generally, where we will be using means in a textile mills where high humidity is to be maintained. Next, heating and dehumidification. This is cannot be achieved by simply spraying water. Heating and dehumidification. This can be achieved only by using chemical. Adiabatic chemical dehumidification. By using chemicals only, this can be achieved. Without by using air washer or any process, we cannot achieve. Only by using chemical process we can achieve this method, heating and dehumidification. Heating means temperature should rise, dehumidification means fall in moisture content should occur. By using the chemicals we can get two types of dehumidification. By using chemicals which have high affinity to the moisture, which absorbs moisture from the air, so the dehumidification occurs. There are absorbents and adsorbent are the chemicals which we are going to use. Absorbent are the substances which take up moisture from the air during the process and change it chemically, physically, both in the aspects. Means there will be change in chemical reactions. If you choose absorbents, which are in a solid state, which take up moisture from the air during the process and do not change it chemically or physically, those are mm, silicon dioxide, sulfuric acid, activated aluminium, or the absorbents. Generally, this type of application normally used in industries for a particular application. Thank you.